Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now this is part 2 of the previous YouTube video where we talked about a number of things regarding the soul trap, the apex of ascension and a number of other things. And we're going to talk about a specific component that's played a huge role in regards to this recycling of us, the soul trap, this reality's prison world where we've been limited for such a long time, okay? And it's to do with our solar system, and it's to do with a particular moon around the system of Saturn. And there's a lot of information out there to say there's a lot of negative juju coming from Saturn. David Icke talks about it, and a number of people talk about it, about Saturn in particular. The word Satan comes from there, but we're not going to talk about Saturn in particular. We're going to talk about one of its moons, okay? And it's something that has been coming through my dowsing for quite a long time now, and again, specifically this moon, okay? And the moon is called Iapetus, okay? And it's spelt Iapetus and pronounced Iapetus, okay? Interesting, E-Y-E, the all-seeing eye, right? All-seeing eye, Iapetus. Keep that in mind. Now, Iapetus has got a connection to this reality of how it's trapped us here, and the whole thing about recycling in the use of a soul is kind of the polarity to our higher perspectives of ourself, our source origin, trying to get us out of here, okay? And let's talk about Iapetus itself, okay? All the things about where does it get the name from, the symbolic nature of the word Iapetus, and also the structure of what we deem as a moon. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Now, other than obviously Iapetus, so the all-seeing eye in regards to Iapetus, right, is that Iapetus was given that name from a god. Most cosmic things were, like the moons and the planets and so on. They were god names, right, in regards to our mythology. Now, what I found was that Iapetus is the god of mortality. Now, when we look at this reality, and the human itself is one mortal, but our higher perspectives of self, what we call our higher selves, and our source of energy is infinite. So therefore, we're immortal, but in here we're mortal, or we're told that we're mortal. So very interesting that I found that Iapetus, god of mortality. Interesting. Now I delved into this information a bit more, and it said, okay, Iapetus and Iapetus' sons were thought to have been the ancestors of the human. The human was created about 2 million years ago. From Iapetus? Maybe. Also said Iapetus was the progenitor of the Homo sapiens, the human. So all these things were just connecting up big time, being downloads of information of how Iapetus, the connection of Iapetus to a client or people was not good. Okay, it was all about keeping them here, keeping them locked into the grid of this reality. And I kept seeing it over months and probably a year or two, this information about this particular moon, recently doing a bit of research about it. Let's move on. Now, it's also often called the yin and yang moon, okay, which, yin and yang, duality, right? When you see a photo of the moon, one side of it's dark, one side of it's light. Again, the duality of light and dark, right? Black and white, light and dark. Found that very interesting as well. Now, one other thing about this moon is when you see a photo of it, it's geometrically shaped. It's not perfectly sphere. It's got straight lines to it. And there is a cliche in regards to nature, is that nature doesn't usually create straight lines. It's always artificially made, not from nature. So we're going to get into other aspects now, or components of the moon, is that this is what was said. There is no viable geological model to explain a 60,000 foot high, 60,000 foot wide, 4 million foot long wall spanning an entire planetary hemisphere, so the moon, because it goes right around the moon, let alone located precisely on its equator, like two pieces of the puzzle put together. Two pieces, duality, put together. And there's a ridge that goes right around it, that's that high, that wide, that long, and it's precisely on the equator of the moon. A lot of people call it the Death Star, like in Star Wars, where it's a base where it can be moved around at will. We can kind of also make that reference to our moon. And there's actually literature, and there's actually times in our history that says in literature that we didn't have a moon, and then all of a sudden it arrived from somewhere. Interesting. Okay, so we've talked quite about the structural aspect of what we think is the moon around Saturn. Okay, all these things that do not make any sense whatsoever, and I'm getting this connection with Iapetus that has a connection with this reality and us being trapped within this soul trap system. And as I said in the last video, the soul lure system, a system to lure your soul in and keep recycling you without you knowing what your reality is. Okay? So, in regards to Iapetus, what I'm coming to find is the Iapetus is the backup of the soul itself. Okay? It's the soul creating or soul recycling system is Iapetus. So we're seeing this a lot come up in clearings at the moment, okay? And what we're doing here in regards to ascension at the moment. Now, what I'm also going to say is that we are currently in the apex of an ascension. We talked about it in that previous video, okay? And it's a cyclic phenomena, ascension. And ascension, even though the human was created 2 million years ago, our first ascension didn't happen until 600,000 years ago, and it's been cyclic since then. Now that's because, as I say, there's that push and pull of Iapetus pushing so much fear into us to keep us low vibrational, keep recycling us to try and think that that's all we ever were and ever are going to be, a mortal being. And then all of a sudden, our higher perspective of self, our source, our origin of energy, love, came back into the picture and wanted us to get us out of this reality. Okay, and there was that push and pull. And that's when eventually we start having the cycle of ascension, which is that window to try and get us out of here. Okay? So at the moment, even while we're going the apex of ascension, we are getting an amplified effect of love coming through. We're also getting an amplified effect of Iapetus as well at the same time. Okay? So at each time in the cycle, this is what we're going to feel. And I talked about this whole phenomenon of ascension entanglement in the last video. If you haven't watched the last video, go and check it out. And it'll give you a bit more understanding of what I'm talking about now. Okay. So, very, very interesting, this moon Iapetus. I will you to go and check it out. Okay. Look at the photos of the moon. Look at the geometrically structure. Look at the dark versus the white, and the fact that it's connected or kind of referred to as the Death Star in regards to Star Wars. This is a very interesting moon. Another thing that that was said about Iapetus was our moon. Okay, our moon is that there's always one side of our moon that we never get to see. They call it the dark side of the moon, right? dark light. Only light because obviously the sun shining or source shining onto it. But again, the duality, right? Dark and light. Iapetus does the same thing for Saturn. There's only one side of it that looks at Saturn. One side is always away from it. That's not the reason why it's dark, though. Even with light shine on it, there's a dark material on the surface of it. But check it out. Check the photos out. It's very, very interesting. Very interesting concept as well. And that's why I want to share it with you. And I hope you really enjoyed the video. Please comment below. I love to hear your comments of what you think about the video, and also if it's something completely different, or you're wanting to talk about something in a different way. I love to hear that too. We're all students here. We're wanting to be open-minded here. We're wanting to figure out the puzzle so we can escape, we can ascend to having our sovereignty and choosing and having the choice of what we want to do in regards to our evolution. Okay, so please post below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, because there's going to be more information coming. It's coming through thick and fast. Until next time, bye.